What if I told you that one of the biggest reasons your hair isn't growing fast has nothing to do with the products you're using and everything to do with what's happening inside your body right now? Most people spend hundreds on shampoos, oils, and treatments, but they completely ignore the real root cause of slow hair growth, thinning, and breakage, and that is nutrient delivery and hormonal balance. Your hair is not a priority tissue for your body, which means if you're low on key nutrients, your body will redirect them to more important organs first, leaving your hair weak, dull, and slow growing. So the real secret to growing long, healthy hair fast is improving your body's internal environment so your hair follicles finally get what they need to thrive. Let's break this down in a simple way. Your hair follicles are like tiny factories, and they need raw materials to produce strong strands, and those raw materials are vitamins, minerals, protein, and oxygen-rich blood flow. If any one of these is missing, production slows down or even stops. One of the most overlooked nutrients for hair growth is zinc, because zinc supports tissue repair and helps regulate oil glands around the hair follicles. And if you're deficient, your hair can start shedding more than usual. Another critical factor is biotin, which plays a role in keratin production, the protein that makes up your hair. And without enough biotin, your hair becomes brittle and weak. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you're consuming these nutrients, if your digestion is poor, you're not actually absorbing them properly. Low stomach acid, for example, can prevent the breakdown of proteins and minerals, meaning your body simply can't use what you're eating, so you could be eating healthy, but still not seeing results. Now, let's talk about hormones. High levels of stress increase cortisol, and when cortisol stays elevated for long periods, it disrupts your hair growth cycle, pushing more hair into the shedding phase. At the same time, insulin resistance can also play a role, especially if your diet is high in sugar and refined carbs. This creates inflammation in the body, and inflammation directly impacts your hair follicles, making them weaker and less productive. So what's the solution first? You want to focus on increasing your intake of nutrient-dense foods like eggs, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and high-quality proteins, because these provide the building blocks your hair needs. Second, improve your digestion by supporting stomach acid naturally, for example, by eating slowly, avoiding overeating, and including fermented foods in your diet. Third, reduce sugar and processed foods to stabilize insulin levels and lower inflammation. And don't underestimate the importance of stress management, because even the perfect diet won't fix hair issues if your body is constantly in a stress state. Simple things like getting enough sleep, sunlight, and even light exercise can make a huge difference. There's also one more powerful factor that most people ignore, and that is scalp circulation. If blood flow to your scalp is poor, nutrients can't reach your hair follicles effectively. This is why techniques like scalp massage can actually support faster hair growth by increasing circulation. So when you combine proper nutrition, balanced hormones, good digestion, and improved blood flow, you're finally addressing the real cause instead of just masking the problem. And that's when you start to notice your hair growing faster, thicker, and stronger without relying on expensive products. Because the truth is, healthy hair is a reflection of a healthy body, and nutrient absorption is one of the most overlooked factors when it comes to growing long, healthy hair quickly. And most people don't even realize that it's not just about what you eat, it's about what your body can actually break down, absorb, and deliver to the hair follicles. Because without that process working efficiently, even the best diet in the world won't translate into stronger or faster hair growth. And this is where things start to get interesting, because many individuals are consuming foods that are rich in vitamins and minerals, yet they still experience thinning, slow growth, or excessive shedding, which points to a deeper issue happening in the digestive system rather than a simple lack of nutrients. When you eat food, the breakdown process begins in the stomach, where stomach acid and digestive enzymes work together to break proteins into amino acids and release minerals like zinc, iron, and magnesium, all of which are essential for hair structure and growth. But if your stomach acid is low, this breakdown process becomes incomplete, meaning the nutrients pass through your system without being fully absorbed, and this creates a hidden deficiency that doesn't always show up clearly at first, but gradually affects tissues like hair, skin, and nails, which are considered non-essential compared to vital organs. So your body prioritizes survival over appearance. Protein is especially critical here because hair is primarily made of keratin, a structural protein that requires a steady supply of amino acids. And if your body isn't properly digesting protein due to low stomach acid or insufficient enzymes, your hair follicles simply don't receive the building blocks they need to produce strong strands, leading to weaker hair that breaks easily or grows at a much slower rate. And this is why some people increase their protein intake but still don't notice improvement, because the issue isn't intake, its utilization. Minerals like zinc and iron also depend heavily on proper absorption, and these minerals are involved in cellular repair, oxygen transport, and follicle function. So when absorption is compromised, the hair growth cycle becomes disrupted, often shifting more follicles into the resting or shedding phase, and over time this results in noticeable thinning. And what makes this even more challenging is that stress, poor diet, and certain lifestyle habits can further reduce your body's ability to absorb these nutrients effectively. Another key factor is the health of your gut lining, because your small intestine is where most nutrient absorption actually takes place. And if the gut lining is inflamed or damaged, it can interfere with this process significantly, meaning that even if digestion in the stomach is adequate, the nutrients may still not pass efficiently into the bloodstream. And this condition can be influenced by factors like processed foods, excessive sugar intake, food sensitivities, and chronic stress, all of which create an environment where nutrient absorption becomes less efficient. Fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamin A, D, E, and K also play an important role in hair health, and these vitamins require healthy bile production and proper fat digestion to be absorbed. So if your gallbladder function or fat digestion is impaired, you may not be getting enough of these essential nutrients even if they are present in your diet. And vitamin D in particular has been linked to hair follicle cycling, meaning low levels can contribute to slower growth or increased shedding. The role of the microbiome should not be ignored either, because the balance of bacteria in your gut influences how well nutrients are processed and absorbed, and an imbalance in gut bacteria can lead to reduced nutrient availability, inflammation, and even increased production of compounds that interfere with normal metabolic processes, all of which indirectly affect hair health. And this is why supporting gut health through dietary choices can have a noticeable impact on hair over. One common issue that often goes unnoticed is eating too quickly or under stress, because when you're in a stress state, your body diverts energy away from digestion and into survival mode, which reduces the production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes. And this means that even a nutrient-dense meal won't be properly processed, leading to reduced absorption and less availability of key nutrients for hair growth. And over time, this pattern can create a chronic deficiency that manifests in subtle ways before becoming more obvious. Hydration also plays a role in nutrient transport, because your bloodstream carries nutrients to the hair follicles, and if you're dehydrated, this process becomes less efficient, which can further limit the delivery of essential compounds needed for hair production. And while hydration alone won't fix underlying absorption issues, it supports the overall system that ensures nutrients reach their target tissue. Another layer to consider is how certain dietary habits can interfere with absorption. For example, consuming large amounts of refined sugar can disrupt mineral balance and increase inflammation, while excessive intake of processed foods can reduce the overall nutrient density of your diet and introduce compounds that negatively affect gut health. And over time, these habits compound the problem, making it harder for your body to extract and utilize the nutrients it needs. Improving nutrient absorption starts with supporting digestion at its foundation, which means creating an environment where your body can effectively break down and utilize food. And this involves simple but powerful habits like eating slowly, chewing thoroughly, and avoiding distractions during meals, because these actions signal your body to produce the necessary digestive juices and enzymes, enhancing the breakdown and absorption process, including fermented foods in your diet, can also support gut health by introducing beneficial bacteria that aid in digestion and nutrient processing. And these foods help maintain a balanced microbiome, which plays a role in how efficiently your body absorbs and uses nutrients. And over time, this can contribute to improved hair quality. And reducing stress is equally important because chronic stress not only affects hormones but also directly impacts digestion, lowering stomach acid and impairing nutrient absorption. So managing stress through simple practices like getting enough sleep, spending time outdoors, and engaging in light physical activity can indirectly improve your body's ability to nourish your hair from within. When all of these factors come together, proper digestion, a healthy gut, balanced microbiome, and efficient nutrient transport, your hair follicles finally receive the consistent supply of nutrients they need to function optimally. And this is when you begin to see changes in the strength, thickness, and growth rate of your hair, not because you added more products, but because you fixed the underlying issue that was limiting your body's ability to support hair growth in the first place. Once you fix what's happening internally, your hair will follow naturally. Hormonal balance plays a powerful role in determining how thick your hair is, how fast it grows, and how much of it you keep over time. And what makes this particularly challenging is that hormones don't just affect one part of the body in isolation. They act like messengers that influence multiple systems at once, including your hair follicles, which are extremely sensitive to even small shifts in hormonal levels. So when there's an imbalance, the effects often show up in the form of increased shedding, thinning, or stalled growth, even if everything else in your routine seems correct. One of the most influential hormones when it comes to hair is cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone. And when your body is under constant stress, whether physical or emotional, cortisol levels remain elevated for long periods. And this creates a state where the body prioritizes survival over growth and repair, which means functions like hair production get pushed down the priority list. And this leads to more hair follicles entering the resting phase prematurely, a condition often associated with increased shedding and noticeable thinning. Over time, chronic stress doesn't just affect cortisol, it also disrupts the balance of other hormones, creating a cascade effect that further impacts hair health. And one of the key systems involved here is the relationship between cortisol and insulin, because when stress is high, blood sugar regulation often becomes less stable, leading to higher insulin levels, and consistently elevated insulin can contribute to a condition known as insulin resistance, where the body becomes less responsive to insulin, resulting in more circulating insulin in the bloodstream, which can trigger inflammation and hormonal shifts that negatively affect hair follicles. Insulin resistance is particularly important because it can increase the production of androgens, which are male hormones present in both men and women. And while androgens are necessary in small amounts, excessive levels can lead to hair follicle shrinkage over time, a process known as miniaturization, where the hair becomes finer, shorter, and eventually stops growing altogether. And this is commonly seen in patterns of hair thinning that gradually worsen if the underlying hormonal imbalance is not addressed. Another hormone that plays a crucial role in hair growth is thyroid hormone, because the thyroid gland regulates metabolism, energy production, and the rate at which cells regenerate, including those in the hair follicles. And when thyroid function is either too low or too high, it can disrupt the hair growth cycle, leading to diffuse thinning across the scalp. And in many cases, individuals may not immediately connect thyroid imbalance with hair issues, especially if the symptoms develop gradually. Low thyroid function in particular can slow down the production of new hair cells, causing hair to grow more slowly and become more fragile, while also increasing the likelihood of shedding. And this is often accompanied by other subtle signs like fatigue, cold sensitivity, or dry skin, which can easily be overlooked or attributed to other factors, making it even more important to consider hormonal health as a whole rather than focusing on hair in isolation. Sex hormones such as estrogen and progesterone also influence hair growth, especially in women, and these hormones help maintain the hair in its active growth phase. So when their levels drop or become imbalanced, such as during periods of high stress, poor diet, or certain life stages, it can result in increased shedding and reduced hair density. And this is why some individuals notice significant changes in their hair during hormonal transitions, because the balance that supports healthy growth is temporarily disrupted. Testosterone and its more potent form, dihydrotestosterone, often referred to as DHT, are also key players in hair health. And while DHT is a natural byproduct of testosterone, elevated levels or increased sensitivity of hair follicles to DHT can lead to gradual thinning, particularly in specific areas of the scalp. And this sensitivity varies from person to person, which is why some individuals experience significant hair loss, while others with similar hormone levels do not. The connection between diet and hormonal balance cannot be ignored, because what you eat directly influences how your body produces and regulates hormones, and diets high in refined sugars and processed carbohydrates can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar, followed by increased insulin production, which over time contributes to insulin resistance and the hormonal imbalances associated with it, while nutrient-dense foods support more stable hormone levels and reduce inflammation. Healthy fats are especially important for hormone production because hormones are derived from cholesterol, and without adequate intake of healthy fats, your body may struggle to maintain optimal hormone levels, which can indirectly affect hair growth. And sources like eggs, nuts, seeds, and quality oils provide the building blocks needed for hormone synthesis, supporting a more balanced internal environment. Sleep is another critical factor because many hormonal processes are regulated during rest, and inadequate sleep can elevate cortisol levels while disrupting the balance of other hormones, creating an environment where hair growth is compromised. And over time, poor sleep habits can amplify the effects of stress and insulin resistance, making it harder for the body to maintain healthy hair cycles. Physical activity also plays a role in hormonal balance by improving insulin sensitivity, reducing stress, and supporting circulation, all of which contribute to a more favorable environment for hair growth. And even moderate, consistent movement can have a positive impact on hormone regulation, helping to counteract some of the negative effects of a sedentary lifestyle. Environmental factors and lifestyle habits can further influence hormones, including exposure to certain chemicals, lack of sunlight, and irregular eating patterns, all of which can disrupt the body's natural rhythms and hormone production. And while these factors may seem minor on their own, their combined effect over time can contribute to noticeable changes in hair quality and growth. When hormonal balance is restored through a combination of proper nutrition, stress management, adequate sleep, and consistent lifestyle habits, the hair growth cycle begins to normalize, allowing more follicles to remain in the active growth phase for longer periods, which results in thicker, stronger, and more resilient hair. And this shift doesn't happen overnight, but as the internal environment improves, the changes in hair become more apparent, reflecting the stability and balance that has been reestablished within the body. Scalp blood flow is one of the most underestimated factors when it comes to growing long, healthy hair quickly. And most people never think about circulation when they're trying to fix hair thinning or slow growth, yet it plays a direct and critical role in how well your hair follicles function, because your blood is the delivery system that carries oxygen, vitamins, minerals, and hormones to the follicles. And without consistent, strong circulation, even if your diet is perfect and your hormones are balanced, your hair still won't receive the nutrients it needs in sufficient amounts to grow at its full potential. Your hair follicles are highly active structures that require a constant supply of energy and raw materials, and these are delivered through tiny blood vessels that surround each follicle. So when circulation is strong, these follicles are well fed and able to produce thick, healthy strands. But when blood flow is restricted or sluggish, the follicles become undernourished, which can lead to weaker hair, slower growth, and eventually increased shedding. And this process often happens gradually, making it difficult to notice until the effects become more visible. One of the main reasons scalp circulation becomes compromised if prolonged tension in the muscles surrounding the scalp, neck, and shoulders, because tight muscles can compress blood vessels and reduce the amount of of blood that reaches the scalp. And this is especially common in individuals who spend long hours sitting, working at a computer, or dealing with chronic stress, all of which contribute to muscle tightness and reduced circulation over. Stress also plays a significant role here because it causes blood vessels to constrict as part of the body's natural fight-or-flight response. And when this response is activated frequently or for long periods, it limits blood flow to areas that are not essential for immediate survival, including the scalp, which means your hair follicles receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients, creating an environment where growth slows down and hair becomes more fragile. Another factor that affects scalp blood flow is overall cardiovascular health, because the efficiency of your heart and blood vessels determines how well blood is circulated throughout the body, including the scalp. So if circulation is poor in general, it will also be poor at the level of the hair follicles. And this is why lifestyle habits that support cardiovascular health can have a noticeable impact on hair over time. Physical inactivity is one of the most common contributors to poor circulation, because movement helps stimulate blood flow and keeps the vascular system functioning efficiently. And when the body remains sedentary for extended periods, circulation slows down, reducing the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to peripheral areas like the scalp, which can contribute to weaker hair growth over. Hydration also plays a role in circulation because blood volume and viscosity are influenced by your hydration status, and when you're dehydrated, your blood can become thicker and less efficient at transporting nutrients, which can further limit the amount of nourishment reaching the hair follicles. And while hydration alone is not a solution, it supports the overall system that keeps blood moving effectively. Scalp tightness is another often overlooked issue, because the skin of the scalp needs to remain flexible and well supplied with blood, but when it becomes tight due to tension or reduced elasticity, it can restrict circulation. And some people may notice that their scalp feels less mobile or harder to move, which can be a sign that blood flow is not optimal in that area. This is where simple practices like scalp massage become surprisingly powerful, because manually stimulating the scalp helps increase blood flow to the area, bringing more oxygen and nutrients to the follicles. And regular massage can also help relax the muscles around the scalp, reducing tension and improving overall circulation. And over time, this can create a more favorable environment for hair growth. Temperature exposure can also influence circulation, because alternating between warm and cool temperatures can encourage blood vessels to expand and contract, which helps improve circulation. And even something as simple as rinsing your scalp with slightly cooler water at the end of a shower can stimulate blood flow and support follicle health. Nutrient delivery through the bloodstream is not just about quantity, but also efficiency, because the nutrients need to reach the follicles in a usable form. And this depends on both circulation and the quality of the blood itself, which is influenced by your diet, hydration, and overall metabolic health. So maintaining a nutrient-rich diet supports not only what is delivered, but also how effectively it is transported. Oxygen is another critical component delivered through blood flow, and hair follicles require oxygen to produce energy at the cellular level. And when oxygen supply is limited due to poor circulation, the follicles cannot function optimally, which can slow down the growth phase and shorten the lifespan of each hair strand, leading to thinner and less resilient hair over time. Posture can also affect circulation to the scalp, because poor posture, especially forward head posture, can create tension in the neck and restrict blood flow to the head. And this is increasingly common due to prolonged use of digital devices. And correcting posture can help relieve some of this tension, allowing for better circulation and improved nutrient delivery to the scalp. Breathing patterns may seem unrelated, but they also play a role in oxygenation and circulation, because shallow breathing reduces the amount of oxygen available in the bloodstream, while deeper, more controlled breathing supports better oxygen delivery throughout the body, including the scalp, which can indirectly support hair growth by improving the cellular environment of the follicles. When circulation to the scalp is consistently improved through movement, reduced tension, proper hydration, and targeted stimulation like massage, the hair follicles receive a steady and enhanced supply of the nutrients and oxygen they need to function at a higher level. level, and this often results in stronger, thicker hair that grows more efficiently, reflecting the improved internal support system that is now in place.